gets its money from somewhere. And usually it's out of the hands of the private sector. Every dollar that goes to the government is a dollar that is not available to start a business or to grow one.
That's right.
By the way, it also means less money that people have in their pockets to spend. I don't know of any community in this country that should understand that better than this.
Right.
Because this community depends heavily on tourism. But tourism doesn't happen unless people have money in their pocket. Every dollar you take out of their pocket in a new tax is a dollar they cannot spend here. Now, there is some dollars that you're going to have to take. It's government, or certain things government has to do. But if you go too far, as this president wants to go, to fund the big government experiment, that's money they can't spend here. And that hurts everyone. And that's hurting you right now. That's what Mitt Romney understands. That's what this election is about. It's a choice between two very dramatically different views of the role of government in America. And by the way, the role of America in the world. It's consequential. It matters. That's what you're working for. You're not just working to get rid of somebody. You're working to replace somebody with someone like Mitt Romney who understands what's made us prosperous in the past and understands what will make us prosperous in the future as well. You know what the reason we have crisis? I do. And I'll tell you why. Coming here today, driving even into the old neighborhood, I'm reminded why I believe in it so much. In 1956, my parents came to this country in search of a life where they would have the liberty to pursue their happiness. 25 years later, after that, in search of that same quest, they came here out west, where my dad worked as a bartender and my mom was a maid. My parents never made that much money. They certainly didn't make enough money to save for their retirement, much less for our college fund. Yet they made just enough to buy us a home, not a big one, but a secure one. One where we were encouraged to dream, and we knew that if we worked hard, the dreams that had been impossible for them would be possible for us. Those dreams bring me here today. Across 2 decades and a half, I come back to the place where those dreams took flight. And I'm reminded of the special obligation that those like me have to the rest of us who have those dreams now. Now is not the time to abandon the American dream. Now is not the time for us to go back to the ways of the old world. Now is not the time for us to go back and become like those countries that people come here to get away from. Now is not the time for us to embrace the policies that trap generations of people in poverty from which they could not escape. Now is the time for us to remember why the American miracle worked and why we are different, and yes, why we are better than the rest of the world. Don't ever be afraid to say that. The reason why we're better than the rest of the world is because we are the rest of the world. America is not a race. America is not a religion.
Of course.
America is people from all over the world who came here to build in this new land a life that was impossible in their own. And that's why here in this country, the poor, the tired, the huddled masses came. The people who in their own country could not even succeed, rejected by their own societies, came here and built America, the single greatest nation in the history of all mankind. That is our common heritage. And those of us who have lived it just a generation ago have a special obligation to defend it. Because even as I stand here before you today, just in walking distance from this very place, there are people that have the jobs my parents once had. There are people that live the life we once led. Within walking distance of this very place, there are people who now walk the steps we once walked in. And they deserve the same America that my parents and our grandparents gave to us. Woo! That's them have made me as nervous as this.
Article for Vice President!
Run for the Supreme Court. So much of what I know to be true about the world I learned here in the streets, just around this very place. And I understand now more than ever how special and truly this country is. And it's something we should never apologize for. It didn't become that way by accident, by luck, or by chance. It became that way because people chose that route. They chose to believe in the power of the individual. They chose to believe what a free people in pursuit of happiness could do together. They chose to believe in a country where it wasn't government or your leaders that give you your rights. It's the job of government and your leaders to protect the rights that God has given you.
Amen.
Those ideas made this country. But in so doing, they also change the world. Because no matter where you live on this planet, there is someone just like you that was able to accomplish here what they never would have accomplished in the nation of their own birth. And it reminds you of how truly important the American miracle is, not just for us, but for all the world. 2 decades ago, the American miracle lived in my house. The lives of a bartender and a maid who made it the mission of their life to give us the chance to do everything they could not. That miracle finds itself in other houses. And whether in this new century, in this country, in this community, a bartender and a maid can still open doors for their children that have been closed for them, is the issue of this election. And it's what we decide. We must either embrace the things that made us great or become just like everybody else. And I know that in the depths of our heart, no matter how scared we are, because times are tough. And when times are tough and you're getting paid less and working harder, and your house is worth less than it once was, and your kids can't find a job even though they did everything you asked of them, when times are tough and people are worried, those are the times that those who ask us to abandon the principles of our greatness rear their head. And they tell us that the only way we can have a better future is to abandon our liberties and our freedoms and give them the power to distribute our income and run our That's never worked anywhere to try. Every time we have tried it here, it's made us poorer, not more prosperous. Every time it's ever tried it, it's made them poorer, not more prosperous. Now is not the time to go backward to the dark days of human history, when what you were going to be in life was decided by who your parents were, and who they knew, and how connected they were. Now is the time to embrace the things that made us different, and better, and special. And that's what November has given us a chance to do. And that's what you're working for. Up and down the ballot, across the state and country, in race after race. The choices between people that believe in the things that made us different, and those that ask you to apply the policies that will make us just like everybody else. You will decide those elections in your willingness to work and make a difference. And I promise you, I will do my part if you will do yours.